Welcome back to the Drive-In Asylum double feature, and we hope you enjoyed our first presentation of the evening, which was Don't Go to Sleep. And we welcome welcome back, Sam, by the way. Why don't you introduce our special guests who are on the second segment as well as the first? It's Brad and Richard.
Brad and Richard, yep. From Doomed Moviethon, right? Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct way. So nice to see you guys again, guys.
Good evening.
First time. I know you were here and I wasn't. So, but anyway, welcome back. You guys survived the experience.
Yes.
And you also survived some Aaron Spelling TV movie magic with Don't Go to Sleep, pizza cutters and all.
Oh man, that Aaron Spelling, he had some tricks up his sleeve.
Really
the guy
did.
had a gift wrap room inside his mansion. He literally had a room just for wrapping gifts, which my wife brings up all the time. That's when we know we'll be a success. We have a gift wrap room. He was really, Aaron Spelling almost owned 70s TV between this, Charlie's Angels, tons of TV movies, Dynasty. Like the dude was firing on all cylinders. He really,
It really was.
made a lot of money. I like this movie a lot. This movie's got a great cast too. I think you got Valerie Harper, you got Dennis Weaver, Ruth Gordon, and Oliver Robbins, the only kid from Poltergeist still alive. You really got a really wild cast going on in here, and man, and this movie is brutal because it's just like everybody, like nobody. I don't have to spoil it now. Nobody gets out alive.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Richard Lang, who directed it, did Night Cries, which is another good TV movie, and he also directed the pilot of Fantasy Island. So another Aaron Spelling show. So
Wow.
yeah, and this is not on DVD or streaming. That's why I love TV movies. Where like, good luck finding it in the wild gray market of the internet or on YouTube. But yeah, it's a pretty good one. I dig it. What did you guys think?
I thought it was like a dramatic TV film with Dennis Weaver and Valerie Harper, and then it was Hereditary with the children.
Shrewd
My wife
observation.
had several. I said, so it was the ghost of the girl from the car wreck, and she's like, no, I think they tried to make you think it was Mary. No, there was something wrong with the house. So she couldn't decide. She's like, they're all out to get me.
Something wrong with the house. That's such a succinct way to put it.
Yeah.
There's just something wrong with that house.
Well,
Yeah. Lietta kind of wanted speaking of, wife reactions, Lietta was like, yeah, this whole family needs to die. Yeah. and Kevin was the fucking worst. And I was like, how dare you speak ill of the kid from Airplane 2?
I like the scene where Mary gets under the bed and just starts chanting, "Kill me, kill me."
Yeah. All right, I'm ready. I do that every day.
We're not afraid to get creepy. Like this was on like during regular hours where kids could watch it. This wasn't like a movie that was kept from kids.
Listen, I didn't buy that scene for a second. She runs and climbs right under the bed, and there's no shit under there. There'd be like so many boxes and books and stuff shoved under that bed. That scene never would have played.
Also, is the iguana also evil? Because the iguana is the one that gives the grandma the heart attack. Like, is the iguana also possessed by the house?
Hey, his dad tried to feed him lettuce. I don't think iguanas eat that. They're like,
he had a tongue of fire, and then he had to go.
That's right. He had the tongue of fire. Well done.
My wife had a salamander as a kid, and they couldn't find it. And finally, years later, found it under the fridge, and it was all just hardened into like salamander shape.
Wow.
It didn't become one of those weird Florida ones that just becomes friggin' albino and just eats whatever it can find, like all the lizards around here.
It gets too big and it becomes the terror of the neighborhood.
Flat when they found it. It was in the shape. It didn't get turned into. It wasn't like a crocodile or anything. It didn't come back to haunt them after they flushed it.
No, I like
when they moved. They were moving out the fridge, and when they rolled it out, the kids were all greeted by their old friend.
Wow. Heartwarming.
Yeah.
But
that's a horror movie right there.
My cat has found the loudest toy in their collection. This is amazing. Our cat never makes a cameo like on anything, but tonight Gorgon
special.
is in the corner right here.
Grabbing it. Yeah.
That seriously, I threw that toy for her today, and she looked at me like I was out of my mind. And now she's like, "Hold up, this toy's underrated. I need to play with this shit right now."
We came and stayed like 4 days with him and didn't see him.
I like where they find a toy in the middle of the night and you have no idea what it is and you think it's some kind of demon. You just hear like stuff knocking down the steps and
I wrote a few thoughts down about the movie.
Oh, awesome.
I did write down I like the horses versus motorcycle debate in the car on the way there. I really want a vacation from this family because you immediately assume they're on vacation at the beginning. And then mom blowing kisses at the little girl, double kisses, and the girl grabs the kisses and then eats them out of the air. And I said, her wedding night is gonna be a disaster.
So true.
I said, I wrote down, this is my favorite birth control commercial. And I said, this movie gives 0 fucks.
None.
And lastly, Dad is bathing in martinis.
Oh,
Literally.
Man.
He had a nice little setup going there. You know, I was impressed by that bathroom bar.
Mm-hmm.
that's a dream. Like, dude, I tell you what, it's
Shit, yeah.
there aren't many pleasures in life when you're old, but like drinking a mixed drink or a beer while you're in the tub or you're in the shower is really that's how the rich live. Like, it's a great thing.
like I know he was supposed to be an aerospace engineer,
Yeah,
but I think he was just a professor of alcoholism.
that's like a aerospace engineer is like the TV movie job. Like, it's Robert Urich's job, An Invitation to Hell. You're just like because that job says instantly like he's super smart. And yeah,
Nora
Dennis
was disturbed.
Dennis Weaver's best moment is we were talking about it before you guys came back was Cocaine One Man Seduction, another TV movie he's in where he's a real estate guy and it's 2 hours of Dennis Weaver getting zooted on coke. And it's awesome. It's really good. Like, my wife loves that movie. Like, we get crazy and just start yelling during it. It's like our Rocky Horror.
Nora was disturbed that Philip allowed Mary to go into the bathroom while he was in the tub. I don't know. That's how it is in certain families, Nora.
No.
I was thinking about that reminds me of Strange Behavior, where the son is just walks in on his dad brushing his teeth so he could take a leak, and his son is completely nude. The kid is just a teenage boy, just completely naked in that movie. It's like, you guys need to like not live together anymore. This is not working out. Or get married, one of you.
I like the alternate title for that movie is something that could never play in the U.S. Dead Kids. Like, that would never be on a marquee in the U.S.
Dead
like,
Kids.
No.
Kids.
And
It promises what it delivers.
yeah, the what do you call it? Like the Australian trailers for that, they leaned into that Dead Kids title too, because he's got like this the trailer voice like Dead Kids.
Yeah, Lee, this made me sit up straight when this happened in the movie. He actually tells her to put the radio on the edge of the bathtub. What the fuck?
Oh,
You
I want
ought
to
to know better. Drunk or not, I would not do that.
I want a supercut of just all the movies where radios go into bathtubs. Like Elves is another movie that this happens in.
Oh, yeah.
An electrical device goes in the bathtub and it's just like,
Patrick.
yeah, Patrick. Yeah. It's like this.
I love that in the beginning of Patrick. That's the only interesting thing that happens in Patrick.
Oh,
The
Patrick was
haunting.
only so that the Italian sequel could be made. That's the only reason that Patrick exists.
The Haunting of Julia, a radio goes in the bathtub.
oh,
Yeah.
that's right. Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was a heater, wasn't it?
Maybe it was a heater.
I'm just going to do a letterbox list of movies where electrical devices go into bathtubs.
There you go.
I'll just keep them track of this.
I'm still waiting on my Haunting
We'll go
of
next
Julia
week, keep
Blu-ray.
the letterbox list.
Do you think that'll ever happen? Isn't there some kind of rights issue thing?
Well,
No,
they had it.
it's happening.
Did you tell me that?
Somebody told us that, and I don't remember who, but they said it's happening.
Holy shit! Because I remember it was streaming on Netflix.
Yeah.
Hmm
And then they just took it down, and that was like what 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, you can actually buy or rent a widescreen copy on Amazon. Now it looks like, what the cut that's been going around, but it is widescreen. But I have it on good authority that somebody is putting it out soon. I'll be first in line. Yeah, it's a great movie. We've covered it on the show and early on.
Yeah, that was like first like 20 episodes or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frank said Dennis Weaver was responsible for every death in the movie, even his own.
Oh, well, I'm forgetting the biggest radio in the bathtub moment in the history of motion pictures, which would be in Shriek of the Mutilated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. We covered that. Jeffrey was on the show. We covered that. I do not remember that at all. That movie's a blur. That movie's such a blur.
Well, there might be a reason that you don't remember it, because in some cuts of the movie, it's cut out. You don't actually.
Beginning, because I found the copy of the movie that opens with the beheading.
Yeah,
And
that's the
Jeffrey's
uncut version.
copy did not open with that beheading. And he's like,
There's a
what?
VHS rip out there that is the edited version of the movie, and it doesn't have the beheading at the beginning, and it's missing like parts of the radio in the bathtub thing, like parts of that scene are missing. Don't ever watch that version.
Bill, I found a IMDb list of Electrified in the Bathtub movies.
Okay.
And Andy Milligan's Seeds is on it too.
Uh-huh. See, now it's all coming back to me.
Yeah. And Bride of Chucky, that's the other one I forgot that happened in Bride of Chucky.
Lee mentioned something about the Final Destination movies.
Yeah.
And I got to admit here, I cannot, under any circumstances, watch any of the Final Destination movies. I am terrified of life. Like, I am so scared of life. And if I start watching those Final Destination movies, you'll never see me again. I will never do anything because I was scared to drive. I was scared to go on a roller coaster, plane, eat spaghetti, whatever. Get in my personal tanning bed, which you guys can see I haven't been in a long time.
The tub, yeah.
You're looking a little pale, Richard.
I used Tony Todd worked on a commercial for me right after the first time I saw one of those. Let me tell you, after seeing him in one of those and then talking to him about the spot we're going to record, I'm like, I don't really want to talk to you. I do. I don't want to talk to you because bad stuff happens when people talk to you.
I want to live.
Hearing Tony Todd order a salad is the most horrifying thing. He's like, no onions. And I'm like, God damn it, are you frightening?
No onions. That's just scary.
Yeah, and they told me like the whole time, like, don't talk to him about his movies when you go to lunch with him. Like, he's just here to do the voiceover. And literally, we were 2 feet down the street, and someone's like, "Hey, Candyman." He's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, I'll talk about any movies you want to talk about." I'm like, "I don't want to talk about Candyman. I want to talk about Night of the Living Dead."
Oh, there's Spasmo.
Oh,
There she is, right there.
oh, she's
Spasmo, you beautiful thing, come closer.
Nope, she's too busy being freaked out by whatever we're doing tonight. She's like, "Why aren't you in bed, you freaking weirdo? What are you doing?
This is
your parents out of town
behavior." So, what else about Don't Go to Sleep before we move on to our second feature?
That freaking the last smile that Jennifer does when she sees her mom. That Joker freaking smile, dude. Because like the smile starts as a sweet smile for a split second. She winks, and then it gets into the like this kind of smile. It's like, oh no, you're fucked, Mom. You suck.
I mean, it's such a universal horror trope for something to come up from the bottom of the bed like that. It was scary.
Yeah, they really exploited that. They were beating us over the head with that thing living under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
But the ads were very clear that you were going to get thing under bed from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought it was going to be a monster movie. I remember now when I saw the ad in the TV guide, I was like, oh, I hope it's a monster movie if there's something living under her bed. The fact that it turned out to be a ghost was a little bit of a letdown, but I did like overall. This movie has the classic, it's very American Horror Story ghost, because every American Horror Story thing that has ghosts, like people have relationships with ghosts on that show all the time, and you can get pregnant by a ghost. So Don't Go to Sleep is very much like that.
I don't know if you guys mentioned it before, Valerie Harper, when she had her own show, she's one of the few lead characters on the show that got killed off on her own show. And they came back as like the Hogan family.
The show continued.
Valerie's family for a season, and then it was the Hogan family. Like,
yeah, I mentioned that.
That's crazy.
She got into a fight with the producers and did not come back.
No. I remember as a kid, I was like, wait, certainly Valerie Harper, because the show is built around her. Nope, not anymore.
Nope, like called Sandy Duncan, and she came in, and that was it.
It was like literally one episode of them being sad about her being gone, and then it's like the hijinks came back. It turned into a sitcom.
Right back in.
Never mentioned again.
Tough town.
Jason Bateman was in that.
Yep.
I liked it.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It was one episode of Valerie's Gone, and then it was back to normal.
They're gonna do the same thing on the Goldbergs this season when it comes back. Like they finally got rid of what's his name after that weird season of him being like Jeff Gar, like over the shoulder and CGI'd in and
Yep.
stuff. And this season, it's like you're out of here.
Yep, gone.
Yep. But yeah, I love whenever that would happen on shows. Like it's even worse, like when a character just disappears and all of a sudden you're like, what? They're like, no, we're never gonna like Richie Cunningham's brother went upstairs and just never came back.
Never.
Yeah, we were watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the old show, and her best friend just fucking disappears and is never mentioned again. Like, I was like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that girl? What? Got spirited away by a witch.
What about like on the Dukes of Hazzard when Bo and Luke went driving NASCARs and it was Coy and Vance? And I mean, even as a child, I felt cheated. Coy and Vance.
I was so upset. I was like, what is going on with these characters? And then that's when I started reading TV Guide and I'm like, oh, there's this other world. You know what's weird is I wrote a script for, not that it would ever get bought, for a Dukes of Hazzard comeback movie, and it had a character to be played by Cynthia Rothrock. And when she showed up in the TV movie, it blew my fucking mind. I was like, I've reached the collective unconsciousness.
Holy shit!
Wow.
There were more ninjas in my one, and I don't think anybody wanted to see the Dukes fight ninjas other than me. But
I think
I
manifested that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
It was a Japanese company trying to buy Hazard to put their plant there. It was like kind of like gung ho, and they used ninjas. And Boss Hog had to come to the Duke side, and they had to fight ninjas with flaming arrows. It would have been pretty rad.
I'd have been first in line.
You remember the Dukes cartoon where they had a race across the world?
Across the world.
Yeah. It was like Laugh Olympics, but with the Dukes in it. I mean,
it's exactly what it was.
My brother had a stuffed Flash doll. It was one of the many toys that he wouldn't allow anyone else to play with. Like he had a special box in his bed that you couldn't touch. And he would just tell you every night when we went to bed, he's like, I have a Flash doll up here and you're never going to see it.
Wow.
Who's that weird about it? Stuffed Dukes of Hazzard dog. My brother.
Did he go in hot pursuit with it?
Yeah. Amazing that Flash's father trained Quentin Tarantino to be an actor afterwards. But man, we've digressed away from this movie.
Yes, we did. Sorry.
We left it in the dust.
Yeah.
That's okay, because for those of you who were not on the first segment, our guests tonight are Richard Glenn Schmidt and Brad Hogue from Hello, This is the Doomed Show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tell us about your podcast. Like I had a question. What's your favorite movie that you've done so far on the podcast?
Oh, I know what mine just jumps right into my brain.
Go ahead.
Man, Jeffrey, our one of our co-hosts, he introduced me to a little film called Nightmare Weekend. And I mean, that movie knocked my dick in my watch pocket. Like that is now trying to be my favorite horror film of all time. Like I'm so excited about watching Nightmare Weekend that I don't. I stare at it and like stroke the spine on my shelves and then walk away because it's just incredible. It has everything in it I've ever wanted. Oh, there's Gorgon. There's the other beast. I know you guys are all here for the cats.
We encourage
Nightmare Weekend
participation. Like,
because we kind of split it up a little bit. For my editing sanity, we don't always do scene by scene. So like Brad and I will kind of summarize the film a little bit more, and Simon and I will kind of summarize the movie a little bit more. But Jeffrey's like, no, I only pick the weird shit that we have to go scene by scene with. We have to do scene by scene. And Nightmare Weekend gets crazier and crazier as the farther you go into it. And so, yeah, that's easily.
I like that the one girl has the puppet that she discusses her virginity with that length.
Yep.
George the puppet. I do remember his name just because of how weird that movie is.
Like, oh, George. Oh, he's dreamy. Oh my God. Yes. It also has one of my favorite lines. This sandwich tastes dry as hell.
So we started the show, and the deal was we would never cover anything that we didn't like because we were not going to be a critical show. And so we pretty much stuck to that, except for once, and Richard liked it anyway. Soul Survivor, but we
No, it's all
covered,
survivors, plural.
yeah, plural, yeah, not the '80s one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought Brad was gonna find that so funny. Like, dude, this 2000s movie is terrible. It's like god awful, and it was
I
like
bought
handed
it.
him.
I had to buy it.
I handed him a shit sandwich. Like, I was like, dude, what about this scene? What about this scene? What about this scene? And I mean, honestly, we probably could have just not released that episode.
No, it was good. But we covered so many movies early on that did not have Blu-rays at the time. Like
Yeah.
Symptoms, The Corruption of Chris Miller, things like that. And so I would say probably The Haunting of Julia, because that really got to me as a film and us covering it. And Richard leads the conversation, and then we talk back and forth on what we thought and how we first came across the film, if not. But I'd say The Haunting of Julia, although our Symptoms we did, and you guys I'm sure are well aware, but we did the entire oeuvre of, go ahead, Richard.
SF Brownrigg.
SF Brownrigg.
Yes.
Yep.
So we like to think we're the only podcast out there that has covered all the horror thriller films of SF Brownrigg. But maybe you guys have. But yeah, we did that and just really got into it.
Yeah, that one is my favorite of my production. I love just that whole show. I think is, if we had a signature episode, the SF Brownrigg would be that one, or the Prom Night Megasode as well.
Prom Night Megasode was good. We covered all the prom nights, including the we talked very briefly about the remake. Very briefly. Nothing happened. But no, we started out with the show was for us. We weren't made for the show, so if we didn't feel like recording, we just wouldn't, and that's why it's lasted 11 years. Of course, he's got other people that come on and talk to him when I'm like, look, I'm taking a 6-month break.
Yeah,
well, there's
it
4
started
of you,
off
right?
Yep, there's 4 of us right now.
But we're never all together.
No, we haven't done anything like this. This is like,
no.
We want to try to coordinate this, but Kentucky, New York, Tampa, and the UK is hard to coordinate.
Hard to coordinate.
Wow.
Yeah,
Isn't
Simon
lives like that? They're all from different time zones.
Yeah, Simon's 5 hours ahead of us, 6 hours ahead of Brad. So
he doesn't sleep though. At like 12 o'clock at night, I will look, and he's like watching Tenebrae, and I'm like, okay. He's like, I haven't been to bed yet.
This is so you and me, Sam, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I text Bill in the middle of the night, like pictures from movies I'm watching. He's like, doing that before you start.
And he knows I'm up, and I'm gonna see it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There is one thing.
Whenever the most satanic scene that's happening in a movie or the most salacious scene, always gets like 5 seconds of it sent to Bill. I'm like, this movie's great.
Nice.
Go ahead,
Whatever
Richard.
it may be.
The only moment we blinked in the SF Brownrigg show, the only thing that made us go, nah, dude, was his cornball like college comedy that he did as his last movie. Like, it's called Coming Up or Getting Crazy, or what the fuck is that called?
I can't remember the name of that movie. I'm just so not interested in it.
We tried. Oh, I know. I gave it a little bit of a look, and it enraged me. It was so off. Thinking big.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There you go.
It was.
I like when
I'm gonna eat those
directors
words one of these days.
I do like when horror directors make Porky's cash in, which happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's neat to be like, oh, okay, they did this, and then and you
I
get
can't-
hopefully back into what you're doing.
I get triggered when people mention Porky's because for some reason my parents were really, really super liberal about sexy comedies when I was a kid. Like, I think it was more like they weren't trying to like teach me that sex was normal or anything, or maybe they're trying to turn me into a rapist with Revenge of the Nerds. I don't know, but like they were super liberal about this. Like they didn't care about that I was there. So you name most sex comedies or sexy movies from the 80s, and I've seen it with my parents. I actually saw Porky's 2 the next day and Porky's Revenge with my parents.
Oh, man.
Theatrically?
Like, no, it on VHS. I think
Okay.
they knew not to expose their crimes against humanity in public, but like Blame It on Rio, Revenge of the Nerds was that hair pie scene.
One of my favorite stories is Richard would complain how he saw Hard Bodies with his grandfather. And when Hard Bodies came out on Blu-ray, I bought it and sent it to him.
I am terrified. It's sitting on my shelf right now, and I'm so
I've never
scared to
seen
watch
it,
Hard Bodies.
But like every 2 or 3 months, he's like, "Did I ever tell you that I watched Hard Bodies with my grandfather?" And I'm like, "Tell me again."
My grandpa thought I was asleep because we were spending the night, and he had to have his Hard Bodies, and I guess maybe he followed up with Hard Bodies too. I don't know, but like I was in the recliner directly, like super close to the TV, and he was in the other recliner in the back of the room. So every few minutes during Hard Bodies, my grandpa would creepily look around the side of the chair and look in my eyes to see if I was asleep. And then he'd
But you
go
weren't.
back to watching Hard Bodies. And so it was this like nightmarish thing where, yeah, I was like, however, 7, 8 years old. Of course I would watch Hard Bodies, but not with my grandpa secretly masturbating in the fucking chair.
That would
behind us.
happen in an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
Who was in Hard Bodies? Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn is in it. See, is that scene where
Wow.
he teaches someone how to say "fuck you" in like 27 languages?
Mm.
It was his audition. He wrote that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
We're getting into some deep stuff on this program. I like it.
childhood traumas are leaking out.
Oh yeah.
Our second feature tonight is Bad Ronald. I feel like there was something else we were supposed to talk about. Oh, a couple people in chat mentioned This House Possessed. So what do you
Yeah.
guys think about that movie real fast?
My wife Elizabeth just bought the book that's based on.
It's based
If
on
I'm
a
not
book?
If I'm not mistaken, is This House Possessed? Is it the one with Barbara Stanwyck?
Oh no.
No.
Parker Stevenson. It's a 1981 TV movie.
This is a TV. I've spoken out of turn. One moment.
Oh, that's okay.
Was it Possessed?
You obviously haven't watched very many episodes of our show. We do that all the time.
Yeah, this happens.
No, I've never seen this.
And
House
the Weiss
Possessed.
is in it too, and Philip Baker Hall too, Bill, in that.
Oh my god, that picture of him with his shirt open down to his navel. That looks freaking wonderful.
Oh, Parker Stevenson.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen that one though.
Yeah, just like
the
Stuff in
house
the
that
House.
would not. The House That Would Not Die was the film. It's based on a book, and my wife just bought that.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was picturing a novelization of This House Possessed, and I was getting really excited.
I'm sorry.
Hey, speaking of novelizations, last week we had on the show Robert Fries from It Came From Hollywood. He wrote a novelization of The Brain That Wouldn't Die. The
Really?
Head in a Dish movie. And I wish I had it in arm's reach here. It's just amazing that somebody wrote this movie. So go check it out if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Was he at all affiliated with that remake they just did of that?
No. We asked him about that.
That remake looked wild. Like
It's
somebody.
I really liked it. It's
Nice.
It's super gory. It has all the gore you were missing. There's gore in the original, but this one goes hard.
Can I do a subtle plug?
Oh, please do.
You can do a blatant one if you want to.
Did someone say books?
Yes.
I wrote some shitty
Look at
books.
those.
I got Giallo Meltdown, a Moviethon diary. These are all artwork. All this artwork is my wife's artwork, but I don't have Moviethons like normal people where I watch a few movies and then go play video games and stuff. I'll watch like 18 or 19 movies in a weekend. So this book and Doomed Moviethon are both me torturing my brain and my wife and our cats, watching too many movies. And then Cinema Somnambulist is just my blog. I wanted to stare at my blog in paper form. So this one's for me. Oh, hey, thank you. But also it's available to read and purchase. So yeah, those are my books. And I'm really, really excited. My wife, I hope I excite my wife. But she drew
sure you do.
this. She drew this cover of us sitting there watching movies with the cats. And then you can see the view from behind of us hanging with our previous cats, which are now buried in the backyard. So the new cats, they're also being tortured by all the movies we watch.
As
And
a
when we have
selling
guests
point,
come over.
I wrote the introduction to one of them. He kindly allowed me to.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wrote it. He made a quill out of his beard hair. It was beautiful.
It was.
Just one? Oh, he twisted them together, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, that was my plug. Thank you.
Awesome. As someone that watches 18 movies a weekend as well, I appreciate what you're doing. So,
dude, that moment when you realize that you're now addicted to it and you just don't want to stop. But I'm getting old, dude. It's getting harder. Like I've been working on a sequel to Giallo Meltdown because unfortunately, Giallo, I'm very liberal with the term, so it's beyond Italy for me. So Spain and England and America, and so now there's more movies that have like surfaced out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. So now I've got a whole second book to write, and doing these movie-thons is it's like I'll watch this many movies anyway, but also having a laptop on my lap or a notebook, because sometimes like, you know what, I'll save my eyes and use a notebook and jot everything down. That's smart. And then a year later when I'm typing my own notes, I'm like, that was not smart. Now I'm pissed off at myself in the past.
I agree with your adding other countries because I just added Body Double to my follow list. So yeah, which
nice.
Is one. There's
Big
a lot
fan.
of a lot of it in there. That movie's crazy, by the way. I forgot. I saw it. Seeing it now, seeing it in your puberty era, there's one reason to watch it. But now when you watch it, you're like, so much happens in this movie, like where he rolls out of the coffin, back onto the movie set, back into the movie. Like there's some crazy stuff that happens in that.
Nice.
It is a wonderful film.
I was a latecomer to that one. I didn't see that one until like years and years later. I don't think I even knew that movie existed until I was like in my 20s, and I was like, whoa, what?
It really disturbed me when I saw it. I was like 13, and like when he's watching the girl, and you're like, "Hey, this is great," and then she gets killed with that drill, and it goes through the ceiling, and the blood goes in his mouth. I was like, "This is really upsetting." Like I was not ready. I also realized from watching it that there's a scene where Holly Body's smoking, wearing that fringe jacket. She has the same hair as my wife. She smokes as much as my wife. I'm like, are all Melanie Griffith roles led me to my wife? I really think so. It's pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very similar hairstyles in that movie too. So, yeah.
Oh,
we had flip.
Somebody vanished.
That made me.
Oh, he's back.
I don't know why it made me think of when I saw Tourist Trap TV when I was like 8. And because I was watching it, so I used to really have trouble sleeping when I was a kid. I was up all night worrying about bullies. So I would.
Did we grow up in the same house?
Brother. Because I would lay awake at night planning all the badass shit I was going to say to those bullies the next day. And unfortunately, they didn't say the exact combinations of words that were required for me to slam them with my sick thoughts and my thing I prepared for years. But I would just turn on the TV and catch the Late Late Show. And I saw stuff like Prom Night and Girls Night Out. But frickin' Tourist Trap, man.
my
That'll
God.
stick with you when you're freaking like
My wife
9 or
and
8 or 9 years old.
as tourist trap characters and say, "Your world is dark." To each other.
That's awesome. Yeah,
We're
prom
having- she's
night.
in the back and she's like, "We're having a party."
That
That's a
movie scared the
deranged
shit out of
movie, by the
me.
way. That movie, nothing has done. Other movies, when you get older, you're like, yeah, that really wasn't as weird as it was. If anything, Tourist Trap is weirder when you get older. Like it, there's so much fucked up shit in that movie.
What I want to know is, are they still somehow alive? Like, because they speak and their voices come out of these mannequin mouths, but like, what's going on there? Is that just Slauson doing that, or are they somehow still? Are they aware of what's going?
Right.
What's
Like,
happened
does
to them?
he have their souls now, or is it just him using his psychic powers? I mean, they need more freaking slasher movies where the slasher is killing people, but also he just happens to have freaking telekinetic abilities. That is, oh my god.
He doesn't use them all the time either. Like sometimes he's like, this one gets the telekinesis. The other ones maybe not.
Yeah, Connors was gonna make it a second career to be in horror films, and he did that. And then I remember he was in Werewolf on Fox, but I don't know that he did a whole lot else in the world of horror there in his second career.
He tried to get more money out of Fox for the second season of Werewolf, and they were like, "No, we're good." And that's why he got killed off in the first season.
Wow.
Yeah. He had cancer at the time, and he was really trying to make as much money as he could for his family.
Sure.
So he was really pushing to get more. And Fox had no money back then. You know, they had 4 shows. They were on a channels probably, yeah. But I love Werewolf, and there's the German Blu-ray finally came out. Hopefully, Shaw Factory had one here, and they didn't have all the rights, and just didn't work out.
That's a shame. I would love that. Was some scary stuff when I was little.
Oh yeah.
See the commercials for it. I've got a download of the first episode, which I guess is feature length, but it looks terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm excited for this to come out on Blu-ray, because I want to see. It probably look better than it looked on Fox, because they were on UHF
They
still.
were, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the sign of quality right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, something strange is going to happen on the show tonight. Sam is live with us, but he's also going to be canned. We're going to have canned Sam, who is going to give us our second. It's not like canned ham. Canned ham is going to give us our second drink of the evening. So take it away. We'll be live again in a second.
Elvis is still thirsty. So come on, Dad. Let's make a drink.
Hey, get ready. This is the second drink of the night. And yep, Elvis is kind of interested. He's more interested in the spoon. Anyway, this is called the closet case, and this is out if you're outside playing with the kids and some little girl's teasing you and you shove her head into a curb. This is what you would drink. So it's going to start with a shot of amaretto and a shot of everybody's favorite Jägermeister. What will those flavors taste like when they combine? Wow.
Stir it up.
I will be the test case, and I will tell you. Oh, man. Here we go. This is the closet case for Bad Ronald. Very nice, very smooth. It smooths off the hard edges of the Jaeger.
Does it make you want to hide in someone's house?
I'm hiding inside your walls right now. I am a prince in my secret kingdom, and you are my princess, and I'm gonna kill your dad.
Enjoy the show.
So this is the first night you're going to get Sam on 2 different cameras at once. Well, actually, it's probably not the last. So, Pazuzu.
That was alternate universe me. That was me from the other dimension.
Yeah, it was
from a different timeline.
It was interesting. So, yeah, it looks like you're out of luck, Richard. But cheers to our guests from Hello. This is the Doomed Show.
Thank you,
Richard Glenschmidt and Brad Hogue.
Thanks so much for asking me to be a part of this. I usually just tag along with Richard, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So
glad you're here.
Sam, were you going to send the link for Bad Ronald?
I just
Oh, you
posted.
did? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Lee, there you go.
It's all legal and stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. We couldn't find it streaming, so I took my copy and I posted my copy, and there it is on Google Drive. It should be open for
Nice.
everybody.
I think we said we weren't going to say that
Yeah.
live on the show.
Oh, well, the police are coming. The internet cops are coming. I'm sorry. I got too excited about drinking this Pepsi. Bad stuff happened.
It was the closet case. Got you.
It did, yeah. I drank that before I wrestled too, so it really went well. I took a nap right after. Yeah, I made it like 11 this morning, and then I took a nap.
That's what I told Bill about the first drink tonight. That if I had that, I'd go right to bed.
Yeah, it made like a really foamy head on it too. It was really good. Bill's been through some of my really strong drinks though. I'm like, he's like, "What's in this?" It's all 170.
Yeah.
And we're like in public too, like a drive-in. Yeah.
That's usually where it happens to me.
Yeah.
It happens to me and now I got Chris Fasonic bringing absinthe.
Yeah.
He gave me some and I took a swig of it and he's like, it's 160 proof. And my legs started to wobble right away.
I went on absinthe both nights. I was like, I can do this. So, yeah.
Wow.
Not a young thing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys want to talk to Bad Ronald before we start?
I've never seen it. This will be a first time for me.
Oh my gosh, really?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh man, that's awesome. I'm glad. It's a definite oddball. Very crawl space. Yes, I saw someone say that it's very similar, but it's from first aired October 24th, 1974 on ABC, and it's got Scott Jacoby, who, if you've seen The Little Girl That Lives Down the Lane, he was the little magic kid in that movie. He's a lot creepier in this movie. Man,
yeah.
And, Kim Hunter Zira from Planet of the Apes plays his mom. She's super protective, and some bad stuff. I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, I'm not going to say it because this has a really shocking moment right in the beginning. You're like, what? Like, man, the 70s, like, life was cheap in the 70s, super cheap. Throughout this movie, life was cheap. Yeah, and then Ronald ends up. You know what? We'll just watch it. It's pretty great. But directed by Buzz Kulik, who did Brian's Song, and which is a very famous TV movie about football.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that he was the director of that. I was like, well, that's switching gears.
Yeah, that's what's cool about this movie is I think having a non-horror director doing it, it's even more horrific. And it also, as Bill will tell you, this really could happen.
Yeah. We were talking about, did we talk about that live?
No, I think it was before we started.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I've said it on the show a couple of times that there was a guy crawling around my neighbor's crawl space and had drilled holes in the ceiling and was spying on them. And there was like, I don't know whether he ever did that to us. There was only one connecting wall where it could have happened. And there was this big splotch of plaster that had fallen out of the wall right in our bedroom. And on the other side of the wall was this creepy guy. So did he or did he not drill into our house? I don't know. But the idea of somebody watching you in your bedroom or, your bathroom or whatever, it's terrifying. Before mini cameras.
Yeah.
Now it's passe.
There's so much I want to say about this movie, but I really, since you guys haven't seen it, I don't want to give too much away. Dabney Coleman's in it though, and I love Dabney Coleman as a protective dad. I mean, that's
nice.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, Jack Flack from Cloak and Dagger. A movie that I'm shocked at Vinegar Syndrome, but I'm like, I thought I was the only person that liked this movie.
Oh.
David Assassino will berate me for having not seen it because I'm a big Richard Franklin fan. So
you haven't seen it?
I have not seen it.
That's good.
Oh man. Yeah,
That's
it was a
good.
definite HBO movie for me as a kid. Like I watched it a lot. It's got a really good, like, there's a store in the mall that the kid goes to that's like a combination video game, role-playing game store. And I'm like, that store didn't exist in my life. Like if that store had existed, I probably would have turned out even worse. Yeah. It's pretty rad. But anyway, this one, yeah, there's so much good stuff in this movie. It's only a 1974 TV movie that aired at like 8 o'clock at night could be this fucking creepy. Like it's like, is this like a grindhouse movie? No, normal people could have tuned in to watch this movie. And I think that's what makes it even better. I'm glad I didn't see it as a kid, because if I did, I would have been knocking on all the walls of my house. I would have been like, is he here? Like, it's because there was in my parents' house. Oh, this is a horrible story, but I'll tell it. There was the family that lived there was like a doctor in town. And they had this is in the 50s when, had mentally challenged kids and you didn't tell anybody that you did. And they kept him locked up in the top room of the house and in the back room. And there was literally a hallway that went around the top of the house so that he could walk around and get stuff and go to the bathroom without anybody seeing him being in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the room that my dad slept in too after a while. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I don't know how you can sleep in this room. Like, I don't know the psychic energy of this room is terrifying.
Lee, you can't watch it anywhere other than the link. So you're going to have to get the link. It's going to be, how are we going to get the link to Lee?
I will send it to Lee direct.
Okay. There we go.
Give me 1 second. I will send it there right now.
There. I took care of you.
Yeah. This is the direct service that you get when you watch our show. You will get like a personal message from Sam. It says, here's the movie. Will Joe Bob Briggs send you the movie one-on-one?
No.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe he will send Joe Bob a message. Be like, hey, Joe Bob, can you send me that? He's like, it's on Shudder, dude. Just chill.
I just let my Shudder subscription lapse, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, bam, here's Dario Argento's new, and I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Wait until I leave.
You watch it yet?
No.
Oh,
I'm like,
I liked it a lot.
I've heard that if you have measured expectations and you've seen Dracula 3D, then Dark Glasses will seem pretty good to you. So
I would say I like it as much as I like it's better than Sleepless.
Whoa, Brad and I both had the same head tilt. Like, excuse me.
Well,
because I'm a big Sleepless guy.
Yeah, I like it. I like Sleepless up until after the train attack scene. Like the train attack, you're like, Argento's back, and then
yeah,
like, no, he's not.
It never comes back.
I adore the dubbing on that one. Holy shit. That dubbing is
I like
magic.
the card player too, though, so I'm kind of weird. I really dig the card player because it's like an audacious idea of like, what if I made a movie about video poker and murder? You're like,
I always remember the quote from that movie. This is the Mecca of video poker.
Yeah.
Never forget that. I'm coming around to the card player. Yeah.
There's a scene in Dark Glasses where there's water snakes that fly out of nowhere, and you're like, this is the Argento I was looking for. Where it's just like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's like one of those moments where you're like,
this is
like at the end of Opera, where you're like, what if these birds flew around and started eating people's eyes? And you're like, oh, he made this whole movie just to make this scene and blow his wife's head out through a door. That's the whole reason he made Opera.
Or in the Stendhal syndrome when Asya takes that pill.
Yeah.
And you get the CGI pill going down her gullet. It's like, how expensive was this shot? And was it worth it? No.
I like the Dorian Tenebrae.
It's very important.
Everybody told him Dorian Tenebrae, this scene breaks the movie where the camera whips over the building where the two lesbians get killed. And he was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is my movie.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Like, there were people telling him no.
Yeah. Well, I love the guys on the Canon podcast always talk about the guy who's in I can't remember what actor it is that's in Four Flies on Grey Velvet. Argento's like, that guy looks just like me. And that's why I put him in the movie. And they're like, he looks nothing like you. He's actually a very handsome man. You're a great director, but you're not a handsome man. And like maybe like I don't know what's in like his book's crazy because it's like you can tell he never went to therapy or anything where he's just like, I have dreams and I make movies and I don't know what they're about. Like they're about some fucked up shit, And but he's just like, the life unexamined is worth living, I guess, if you're Argento. I just put a thing on the site about this week about how much like Brian De Palma he is because they both have like the crazy parents that broke up. Like De Palma's mom bought him recording equipment to record his dad cheating, just like the kid in in Dress to Kill.
Yep.
Yeah, and like
Wow.
that story in Phenomena where she talks about all the Christmas presents being gone and their parents breaking up. That happened to Argento on Christmas when he was a kid. So like they both have that. They both married actresses that were in their movies. They both made movies that are a lot like Hitchcock, and they both reacted to people saying, maybe you're too violent to women by making their most violent. He made Tenebrae, and then then De Palma made Body Double, and they're like, hey, critics, here it is.
Yeah.
Nuts. So, and then they both hate each other, which is great. They're like, I love when like De Palma's like, I've only seen Bird of the Crystal Plumage. I haven't watched any of those other movies. And Nancy Allen's like, he watched them all the time. She's like, I tried out for Inferno, and he said, that guy's too good. You can't be in it. Like come on.
Wow.
And then Argento's like, you ripped off my fucking Tenebrae shot for what do you call it?
Raising Cane.
Yeah, Raising Cane. It's so obvious. It's like, where else did that shot come from?
Mm-hmm.
That shot's in Halloween Ends. Not that I want to talk about it, but it's in Halloween Ends too. It gets in there too.
Oh baby. No, the Argento autobiography. I mean, I'll say one thing about that book. It left me wanting more. Like, he just gives all this detail for like a really long time in the book on different stuff, and then I don't know if he got tired or bored, but all of a sudden, like, he just starts like racing through his catalog, and then the book's over, and I was like, holy shit, man. What? I was like, okay, is there going to be like a second edition of this shit? Like, I think he, for whatever reason, he just got tired of telling his secrets about his movies, or he was like getting scared of the auteur thing. Like, oh man, I have to start giving credit to more people.
I like whenever he talks about his movies where he's like, I had nightmares about this all the time, and maybe the script was 300 pages and no one understood it, but I had to make it. Okay.
I had always heard that him and De Palma hated each other, but I never could find any proof, any textual source.
Yeah. Like, there's just one interview that he did, that De Palma did, where he's like, yeah, Bird of the Crystal Plumage is good. He's like, but I don't understand those Italian movies and their form over flash over substance, which is a hilarious thing for De Palma to say, like split screen king,
Yeah.
And then he's like, but I think who does he say? He said that Scorsese showed me Blood and Black Lace, I think, or Black Sunday. I get them all confused. I'm like, dude, come on. Like, you can just say that you've seen it. Like, it's not like, we're not going to judge. You still make great movies.
Yeah.
You still made like at least 8 or 9. And they also, the other thing they have in common is like, at some point, you're just like, oh, fuck, another Brian De Palma movie. Like, I love Carrie so much, but like, will Mission to Mars be any good? No, it won't. Or Snake. Like, there's so many where you're like, oh, and you see like both guys, you see glimpses of like the magical, thing that they did where you're like, like they still got it, and then it just goes away. And it looks like a TV movie, and you're like, oh, it was not a bad thing for TV movies, but for these guys, that's the hard part of our show. Like the card player, you want that, like, I want the camera to fly into someone's eyeball and like,
right,
and do this stuff, and it doesn't. I want a bullet to go through a door, go through someone's head, and come out the other side, and the camera to shoot through it. Like, come on, do it.
Because the most recent De Palma I've seen is Passion.
I haven't seen Passion.
I haven't either.
It's not bad. It had some pretty cool moments to it, but I got that feeling like, man, this feels like him kind of recycling some stuff from his old days, and not quite pulling it off.
I love watching Carrie because he's like so restrained, and like, that the minute that blood hits, he's gonna go fucking, every split screen in the world's coming out. Stuff's gonna run backwards and forwards on opposite screens. like a basketball hoop is gonna cut someone apart. Like, it's like everything. It's like the whole movie. He's like, I just want to do this for you guys. And then he just goes nuts. Like Phantom of the Paradise, he does it the whole movie where it's just like, oh yeah, so much stuff. Like that bomb scene with the bombs clicking in the foreground and stuff. But yeah, Carrie's great because it's like, I can't wait till he. I think that's the movie where he really puts it together. But I really like Dress to Kill and Body Double, which he's like, they're Hitchcock movies. They're Giallo. Like, come on, dude. Dress to Kill is a Giallo if there ever was one. I mean, it is.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. Long-windedly saying, I'm with you on American movies being in it. I've also invented Pittsburgh Yinzer Giallo, which are Giallo movies made in Pittsburgh. Somehow there's 6 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. The
Really?
difference is you have Iron City beer instead of J&B. That's the real difference.
You guys were talking about Carrie. It made me think of this ad that I ran on the page this week. Look closely at the tagline. If you've got a taste for terror, take Carrie to the party. Because this ad's from the UK and they don't really know what a prom is, I guess.
Oh, nice.
Apparently not. Very nice.
This is
Yeah,
from
we
when
just
it
watched it
opened
again the
in
other night, and
London.
that movie's so good. It's still, I've watched it hundreds of times, and I still get excited about it every time. Like I know what's coming, and I know all the stuff. It also blows my mind of like I say so much stuff from Carrie all the time. Like the other day, I can't remember what it was, and someone threw a piece of paper at me. I threw it back, and I was like, "Plug it up!" I threw it back.
Thanks to Paul for
they're like, "What
posting the link again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Yeah.
I tried to pull a fast one on my wife by accident because I remembered so distinctly that The Rage Carrie 2 was a Halloween movie. I just remembered wrongly, of course. But like last Halloween season we watched it and she's like, there's nothing Halloween in this. I'm like, I know, I don't know why I remembered that. And I'm like, can we make this a Halloween tradition anyway? And she's like, no. Although she's the reason we have that because that's like one of her like I was like I'm a big Blair Witch 2 fan now because my wife, she had it on tape and I laughed at it in her house. I'm like, dude, this is terrible. This is like the worst thing ever. And she's like, you saw it? I'm like, no, but it sucks. And so she put it on, and I've always loved Book of Shadows ever since. And The Rage Carrie 2. She's like, yeah, this had people running out of the theaters because she saw it in the theater, a packed house when it came out. And that last jump scare that they have at the end of Carrie 2, she and her friend from college, they were the last 2 people in the theater because that jump scare made people run out of the theater.
Oh man!
And I'm like, why? Why wasn't I there? Well, first, why? Second, why wasn't I there? That's brilliant.
My wife loves the sequels more than the originals every time. Because she says it's more of it's what I wanted. It's more of that, and yeah.
I mean,
And
Prom
so
Night
there's a lot of
2.
movies where people don't like the sequels, and she prefers them. I had a similar experience because like in my hometown, the video store didn't have a lot of stuff, so we didn't have Texas Chainsaw, but we had Texas Chainsaw 2. We had Phantasm 2. We didn't have Phantasm 1. So I saw these movies completely out of order.
Yeah.
So when I saw Phantasm 2, I'm like, well, I like this a lot. It's an action movie. And the original doesn't make sense. And then I had to learn years later. I'm like, no, this is the way you should watch these movies. It makes a lot more sense, even if it doesn't.
Well, you know, Brad can tell you, I get real nitpicky about timelines being messed up. I get real mad. I can't handle all these different Halloweens with the different stuff.
Before
Choose
we
your own
went
adventure.
Well, here's
I love
the
them
problem.
all.
I wouldn't
stuff.
have a problem with the timeline if they weren't like, hey, all the sequels suck, and then they just made all the sequels show up in the movies.
Right.
Like the new one has a ton of 5 in it. It's like almost all 5 in it. And I'm like, dude, like, you shit on this movie and you made a worse movie than 5.
Well, that's like, I love how like everyone, you know, since 2007 has been calling for Rob Zombie's blood, and yet this new movies have so much of a Rob Zombie feel to them, and everyone's like, well, these are better than that redneck movie that he made. And I always defer to Brad because Brad said it best about Rob Zombie's Halloween.
They hired Rob Zombie to make a Rob Zombie film, and then we're shocked that he made a Rob Zombie film. You know?
Like, what?
I like in the beginning of the second one where they like, hey, this is why there's horses in this movie. Like they give you like a square up reel before it even starts. They're like, a horse symbolizes it. And I'm like, we all know that. The new one has like the someone calls the radio station and says, you shouldn't stare into the abyss because the abyss stares back at you.
I heard that.
I'm like, we all fucking know that. Like, it's like so sledgehammery. It's like, they're like, we got a Nietzsche quote into this. I'm like, but everybody knows that Nietzsche quote. It wasn't like you said anything profound. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, anyway.
See, my band, we couldn't afford to rent a white horse. So when we did our song about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, called Laurie Strode, we actually had my friend Carrie Frankenstein. She actually holds up a picture of a white horse, which my wife had to draw. So
we have way too much in comics. I had a band that did songs about Amicus movies. So
nice.
Yeah, but I would say not that. Maybe this is a third segment thing to talk about. Sorry, Bill, but I don't want to get mad Ronald. But Rob Zombie's. I owe Rob Zombie and Busta Rhymes an apology after watching Halloween last night. They're getting a nice letter. It's like, I know I've said horrible things for years, but not that bad.
These guys liked it. We were talking on the first segment.
I haven't seen it.
I did.
Yeah,
oh, that's right. Okay.
I haven't seen it yet.
Do what, Sam?
What did you think of it?
I liked it. 20 minutes in, I told my wife, everyone's going to hate this. And it's going to be wildly divisive. For as far as, you're absolutely right. You're spot on. These movies, there's too much fan service. But we had a good time. It doesn't hurt my feelings whatsoever for you to not like it or anybody else. It's not like they rammed. I'm like, this is from 4, this is from 5, this is from, so they talked about how, none of the sequels mattered, and then they crammed all the sequels in. But at the end of the day, I liked it, but I'm not going to like try to talk you into it or anything.
I love that they cut all the radio tower stuff out of it, because the original idea supposedly was that he got killed by the radio tower like 20 minutes in, and the tower like broadcasted the evil energy of the which is like a 50s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Becca just yelled, "That's Halloween 3." My wife looked at me. She had an opposite reaction, because my wife, her entire leg is Halloween tattoos. Like, she's very, very, very into Halloween too. She has at least 50 shirts. Like, the whole downstairs is Halloween. And she looked at me 20 minutes in. She's like, "I hate this movie. We can leave." And I fucking hate this movie. She was so upset. It reminded me it was kind of like a WB Haddonfield series, like in 2 hours. It was a lot of like teen romance, and I said in my review, it's like a lot of people are like, "Oh, Season of the Witch is like the movie people don't like, 'cause it's not really a Michael Myers movie," and this similarly isn't. And it's like, it wouldn't, if it had not been a Halloween movie and they made a movie using these tropes, I might have liked it a bit more. But it was just like, but I don't know how you make a 13th Halloween movie and make a movie that's interesting. The only one is the one that was going to get made after the Rob Zombie ones, and the idea that Michael Myers haunts the whole U.S. and picks one small town a year to go to and kill people, and the government tries to catch him. Like, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not really Halloween. And I think the other thing too, like my wife said, the beauty of the first movie and even the second is the simplicity. Like, the first movie is as simple as it gets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like this movie is unsimple as it gets. Like, there's so many.
It's complicated.
Yeah. And also, did you think that Michael Myers was riding on the back of the motorcycle for a second? Look, my wife elbowed me. She goes, "Is he riding the back of the fucking motorcycle?" If that had happened, I would have loved this movie, because I would have been like, if he was riding bitch on the back of the bike and like just like they were palling around. 10,000 stars. I got a real cruising vibe from it too, because he brought guys down to the cruising spot. And Michael he couldn't perform with them, but Michael could. Like, there's like some weirdness there, and I also like the doctor that has Alexa through his house, which is my two favorite characters, and the fat dad, junkyard dad, who only wants to watch Hard Target, which is my favorite part of the whole movie. Like, everybody's getting killed outside. He's like, "I'm trying to watch Hard Target" on his headphone in the junkyard. It's like, what the fuck is going on? And then the dad has the best line where the mom is screaming at him, and he goes, "Son, I just hope you find love." And I laughed. So Max Cady laughed in the theater. Like I just started like screaming, like Robert De Niro screaming, and Becca's like, "You got to stop laughing." And I'm like, "I can't stop laughing." Everybody around us was like really creeped out. It was like during Austin Powers when he said, "My rape her wit," and I started giggling and couldn't stop giggling. And people were like, "That's not that funny." I'm like, "Is it?" But
Is
anyway,
it not?
Is it not? But anyway, yeah, Michael Myers has to go to space, just like Amityville. We need it. I think we need crossover movies.
Mhm.
I'm up because I like the last thing I'll say is the end of it turned into a YouTube video, like one of those Will It Blend videos where I love that they. This is way too much about it, but they had that procession through the town at the end, and I was like, "What if you just moved to Haddonfield and there was a parade, and you didn't know anything? You're just like, I just moved to this town. Seems like there was some weird stuff that happened. And all of a sudden, there's a cop car parade through the town at 3 a.m. You'd be like, we moved to the wrong fucking town. Like, where's the cookie woman at? We moved to the wrong town."
The cookie woman.
If the cookie woman had shown up, it would have gone up too. Like,
Someone asked you about the cookie woman earlier.
Yeah, it was Tyler.
Yeah.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
Because that's my background picture.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah. Fucking love Cookie Woman.
Becca talked to Billy this week. She sent him a message on Instagram. She's like, "I'm going to see the new one, but I think I'm gonna like like your movie better." And he's like, "Thank you."
Nice.
Yeah, that and Cops Do It by the Book. I mean, the greatest T-shirt. There's so many. As shitty as those sequels are, I don't know. I even like 6 a whole lot because it's just
Oh
so
my god. Love it.
gloriously dumb. And it's
I
like,
love 6.
yeah,
it's it.
it's just like I love that he stops him with runes. Like, yeah,
I don't even watch that version.
Oh, you gotta
I
watch
prefer
it.
I prefer the theatrical. I have both, but I'm
Yeah.
all about that theatrical.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. I
I
really
mean-
think. Good.
We got to get to the movie.
Oh, third segment. We'll get into this.
Yes. Sorry
get
to
in.
derail the conversation, but
No.
we have
Okay,
to get to. Go ahead.
There was too many spoilers coming from Halloween Ends. I heard too much already tonight.
I'm sorry.
The question is, you guys, are you going to be back for the third segment, or is it getting too late?
I defer to Richard.
I am old now. You guys think I'm younger, but I'm fucking old, dude. I'm going to watch Bad Ronald and then go to bed.
Fair enough.
I looked at that running time and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
a
I'll-
long movie.
But man,
I'll probably do the same, but it has been an absolute blast. I appreciate the invitation. Absolutely. Glad we got to speak with Sam too.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's great getting
guys.
to meet you guys.
I love what you guys do. I was so glad when Brad mentioned to me that he was talking to Drive-In Asylum and talking to Groovy Doom, and I was like, I had the zines right on my shelves. I was like, holy shit! And then
Yeah, it was Haunt. So
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
May Britt.
and you
Yeah.
guys, I love that you guys do this. This is so
Yes.
great.
Oh,
My pal Scott and I try to do this a much smaller version where we just tweet about. We do like a monthly tweet festival called Movie Party Crew. So hashtag
Mhm.
Movie Party Crew if you want to find us.
Awesome.
And we do one a month, and we're doing frickin' Shock 'em Dead this month that's our Halloween movie pick. I've never seen it. I have no idea what I'm up for.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Bill, I bought, or at least Elizabeth did, all the Haunt issues, the $35 pack.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Sweet.
And make sure to check out these guys' podcasts. I listen to it when I walk. So I listen to a different podcast every day when I take my walks. And
Very nice.
guys are on
Oh,
the
appreciate
rotation.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to the chat too. That was fantastic.
Yeah, shout out to all the chat folks. I was telling Bill during the break. I'm like, I feel bad. I'm missing out on all this awesome conversation. I'll be scrolling through this on freaking YouTube when I'm rewatching this
Mhm.
because, I mean, I look really good right now. So I definitely want to watch my sweaty nightmare face.
We're
some
all
more.
feeling that magic from you tonight, Richard. I'm glad you commented on it.
Hey, a
He
shout out
makes
to anybody with
Slurpee.
big gums. Y'all got big gums? I mean, I bring that
Mhm.
to the party.
You guys got to come back. We'd love to have you guys back on.
Yes.
Thank you. We'd
absolutely.
absolutely come back.
And if you guys want to just hang out on the Doom show, just come and talk about some of your favorites. I would love to have you guys on. That'd be so much fun.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Of course, we would love to.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be great. I'll send you my Jalo list on Letterboxd.
I would love to, if you could
Yes.
send that to me as well. I would love to see it.
I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to
There
know.
may be some on there, and we'll compare and contrast for your next book. See what's out there.
I know your number one favorite is The Dead or Alive with Alex Cord and his big hands smacking Samantha Egger around with a bottle of
I
J&B.
watched the Samantha Egger UFO documentary today, and it was just her talking about UFOs. It's on Tubi. But every time I hear her voice, I hear Mike Justice doing her voice, like in talking about the hand in Demonoid. Do you think it was the hand? Is the hand alive? Is the hand going to find us?
Oh my god.
Oh, it's that dreadful hand.
That hand is back. Is it real? Are you aware of the hand?
And then
Like,
the Brood, she's a very special person.
She also, I do think in this movie, she also provided her own wardrobe for this documentary too. We have this theory that Samantha Egger just brings her own clothes every time.
Was she one of the abductees, or was she just hosting it?
It's a documentary where they did some like reenactments. It's like a proto 1978 unsolved mysteries kind of show. It's real good. It was great to fall asleep too, because it was like people talking about near-death experiences while scuba diving, and I was like, oh, what a beautiful nap. It was like very much like a 70s Rod Sterling documentary nap. It was really wonderful. It reminded me of like being alive and watching UHF as a kid in the 70s and not really having any responsibilities on a weekend. When I have a lot of responsibilities on the weekend.
Oh man, John P just said he just had the greatest question ever. He said, has anyone seen Richard's Family lately? Oh my god. And oh yes, Me Bloody Hand. The SCTV bit, I forgot about that. I'm a big SCTV fan.
Yep.
Whenever my band has a gig, that's my pre-show ritual is I gotta watch something from SCTV. I got all the sets that they sold.
Oh man, me too.
We're basically brothers, I think.
We really are. We'll start talking about Jackie Rogers Jr. and have this segment go all night. This one's for you, Daddy.
I knew this would happen, and I'm so glad it did.
Yes.
All right, so we did our best to get the link to you guys. It's in the chat numerous times. I know a couple people were messaging it to each other, so hopefully everyone's got it queued up and ready to go for Bad Ronald, our second feature. And thanks again to the guys from Hello, This is the Doom Show, Richard Glenn Schmidt, and Brad Hogue.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks. This was a great time. I almost said this was a great fun. Whatever that is.
It was a great fun, Richard.
I shouldn't hold back. You're right.
We hope you will come back to this fun again in the near future.
Absolutely.
Don't sign out, guys. I got something else I got to say to you before we go.
All right.
Okay. Everyone else, come back after the movie, and we'll have more to say about Bad Ronald and, various other things, too.